Hi YouTube, I'm Marisa.
I'm Conor.
And together we're Carissa. That one wasn't good. I give it like a 3 out of 10.
Nah, I do a 6.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a few videos only up about getting a van and the process of that, but we realized that there's some foundational material that we need to talk about before getting into that. So that's what today's video is. It will be a setup leading into that. We really just want to talk about transportation in general for disabled people and how difficult navigating that can be.
And then throwing in the mix, having a job.
And throwing that in the mix. Yeah. So this will probably be a lot of me talking because I like to talk. Prior to meeting Marisa, I was very intentional about where I chose to live because I knew that getting to my office would be difficult. The city that I live in doesn't offer, let's say, good public transit for disabled individuals. All of the buses are wheelchair accessible, but I'd say only half, if that, of.
I would say, 60%, maybe a little over half.
Yeah. I mean, the station that we live closest to,
in terms of a subway, is not wheelchair accessible.
Correct. So, again, before meeting Marisa, for me, well, the first place I lived in back when I was a bachelor was only 5 blocks away from my office. So I used to just, I say walk, but roll my wheelchair to my office when it was nice out. When it was not nice out, luckily, those 5 blocks could also be walked underground. So I used to walk underground.
That's pretty legit.
Yeah, from 8th Street to 13th.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But let's just say it wasn't the safest.
It's an adventure.
It's an adventure. Lots of unhoused people.
Non-homed.
Non-homed.
Unhomed.
Whatever the terminology is these days. I did, for a period, use paratransit. If you're not familiar with paratransit, this is, in general, it's a door-to-door service that public transportation agencies are required to provide disabled individuals if they have inaccessible routes, which again, my city does. I would say that paratransit is less than ideal. I learned very quickly that for anyone with a serious career, that if they wanted to keep that career and not get fired, that they could not use paratransit. I lovingly, or not so lovingly, refer to it as ParaSTRANDED because they would habitually either not show up or show up 4 hours late.
Yeah, I mean, I guess let me give some context into that. Let me paraphrase how this process works. So ideally, it's like 2 days before your scheduled time, you're supposed to make a call and schedule this pickup time. You're then given, say you want to get to your location at 9 a.m. You can't just say, hey, paratransit, please pick me up at 9.
Well, you can.
But the caveat is like 2 hours before or 2 hours after your specified time, they can truly pick you up.
And they tell you. they will search. They'll say, if you want to be picked up at 9, we're searching for availability between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. And we have an availability at 7:30. At that point, you can say, I don't want that. And you can tell them to look at one other time. So if it's, say you said 9, you can tell them, okay, look at 10. And then if they look at 10, again, they can go 2 hours before or 2 hours after. And this is a daily game that you have to play with them. So I learned after trial and error that if I wanted to be picked up at, say, 8 a.m., I had to start by requesting 9 a.m. They would, with about an 80% probability, say anywhere that they had availability anywhere between 10 and 11. So I'd say, nope, can't do that. Check 7 a.m. So then if they check 7 a.m., 80% probability they give me between 7:45 and 8:15 when I really wanted 8. But if I had just asked for 8 the first time, I would not have gotten that. So it was a game.
So if you have to get to work by 8 a.m., it's basically a mathematical equation that you have to, figure out before you even 2 days before the date that you have to go to work to figure out to be able to be picked up on time.
Now, funny story. After I had basically given up on paratransit, there was one day that I decided to take the bus, and I was waiting for the bus, and this gentleman approached me and basically said, are you familiar with paratransit? And I was like, yeah, use it sometimes. Use. I'm the executive CEO of the transit agency in our area in charge of paratransit. And I said, oh, really?
Oh, you?
Let me tell you my experience. So I laid out the equation that I just told you, and he laughed and said, so you figured it out? As if, yeah, this is the thing that people know. So that told me it was set up to discourage
the use of it.
The use of it. I mean, it was. As I advanced in my career and started making more money, I decided that it wasn't worth it and just started taking Ubers.
Which, I mean, we do live in a city that Uber WAV is a thing in, which it's not a thing in every city. So that is something that, I think we have the luxury of here. Being able to just open up our Uber app and select wheelchair accessible vehicle, and we're guaranteed to have a wheelchair accessible vehicle.
Yeah. So, for the most part, when it's nice out, I used to play myself, either take the bus or walk to work. And then if it was very, very cold or raining, I would take a Uber WAV and just pay for it because there was really no other option. I would say that there are a lot of negatives to COVID. One of the positives was the advent of teleworking. Teleworking made my daily life a whole lot easier.
Especially when inclement weather was.
Especially. Even after the height of COVID, we never really went back to work full time.
In the office,
sorry. Yes. That changed in January. So I've now been back to the office full time for a year, and it definitely is taking a toll on me. I think the older I get, the less my body can handle.
Wants to get up at 6:45 a.m. to go
Yeah.
to the office.
Yep. But I will admit that I'm blessed now with Marisa that I don't have to worry about the bus or taking Uber WAV because I have Uber Marisa. We work coincidentally
Yeah.
next door to each other so we can commute in together every day.
Joke is, I let him think that, oh, it's a real, struggle for me to go into the office with him every morning. But like, I get to drive into work. I don't have to take public transit. So like,
You also get nice parking.
I do. I get nice parking, which I mean, I guess is also a perk of living with somebody and being married to somebody who uses a wheelchair.
It's also of this city.
Yeah, we do have some specific legislation regarding handicap parking spots, especially wheelchair lift equipped vehicles. That like I think we are very fortunate.
We import in any metered space for free indefinitely, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Although not many meter maids
know that. So we are experts in requesting tickets be dismissed.
I have about 6 tickets pinned to our pin board that I'm waiting for them to notify me that they've been canceled before I throw them out. So, I think transportation is a big challenge for people with disabilities, specifically when it comes to employment, because, daily commuting is difficult. And thankfully, Telework has helped sort of change that dynamic. I will say, from my perspective, I always tell people with disabilities that if they're looking for work, that focusing on public sector is probably the way to go because the public sector tends to be more accommodating. That seems to not be the case currently with regards to working from home. So that's, a barrier. But I think on a case by case basis, working from home is acceptable. Anything you would add?
You can't even say that with a straight face.
I'm not gonna cut this, but just for everyone watching, this is the third time that we've started that. We were interrupted by our cat twice now. So let's try for a fourth time. Anything you'd like to add?
I mean, no, other than to just summarize, like, I think in your career, we've kind of seen the progression of transportation methods, right? Like, initially starting out, like, being like, okay, well, let me just rent a place close to my office so I don't have to worry about it, making more money, and then being like, okay, well, I don't really want to live, right next to my office. So, where can I find a place that suits me? Using public transportation, and then being like, yeah, well, I want to move up. I can't really use this, and then paying out of pocket, and then being like, yeah, this isn't easy. This isn't how I want to spend my money, And then being like, okay, well, we've got a career established at this point. Like, what resources are available to me, as a career,
Which I think just adds to the fact of like, and we've talked about this in other videos, that being disabled, there are a lot of like added expenses, and that's something that, as you said, like as I started out, I couldn't afford the more convenient option.
Mm-hmm.
But now that, we make a little bit more, we can devote more, resources to those things. Or you just completely backpedal and get over Marisa. That's my recommendation.
Uber Marisa.
Uber Marisa.
Who drives Bertha.
Who drives Bertha. Uber Marisa will be getting a new vehicle soon. And that has been a process in itself, which
we'll hopefully have a video in the future on.
Yeah. So this is a short one, but we thought that it would be a good foundation for future talks. So thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Hope you liked it, and give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the flippy flop.
Yeah, catch you on the flippy flop.
Anything you want to add?
No, I mean, I just think, like, in your career, we've seen the, like, evolution of transportation methods, like, going from, you know, living right next to the job.
Might be.
I don't want to push her off because I don't know where she's at.
Anything that you want to add?
No, the only thing I would like to just basically, like, summarize, like, in your career, we've kind of seen the progression of, you know, like, transportation. I think you've...
She's going to do that in the bedroom.